These guys don't want to talk to each other. So what we got today is a HP monitor, old-fashioned CRT monitor. I have no idea if you can really see that. Old HP monitor. We'll take it apart and see what we got in here. Should be somewhat similar to a TV, but obviously with some differences. First, remove the cords. Okay. Got my tools a little better organized now, but some tab on top here. Get my hand under there. That's all the goodies. Big old piece of plastic that we'll be using later. Put everything back on. Believe it or not, I picked this guy up on the side of the road. Now, of course, we'll have some copper in the yoke and the degaussing cable, or hopefully it'll be copper. We shall see if it is in fact copper. actually has what looks to be a second little degaussing table here on the top. Plastic. And here's our yoke. Yoke with the copper. On the outside, inside, it's got a couple copper spools on it. A little copper spool, more copper up in here, So a good bit of little copper there. The main board. Just start pulling wires here. This is holding you on. Wire right there. Wire there. Cut more there. One more here. Okay, so there's the main board. Cable, second degaussing cable. Now what you can do is, once you've got all the wires out of this, is simply put the cover back on it, put it back in your trash pile, and the trash man will happily take it away from you. I am not going to do that though. Okay, I need... Will you be able to fit down in there? No. I'm actually going to keep this small tube. There is a little bit of metal in the inside of it from what I not enough to really worry about, honestly, but I am going to break it up and convert it to sand. There's the other little board. So I'm actually going to dump that screw out. There. I will be putting this back on simply to protect it until I'm ready to do something else with it. So, what did we come away with? We came up with one Gaussian cable, which is copper, happily. Snip you. Get this ferrite off. Let's see about this guy. Is you or is you not? Stainless steel. We like stainless steel. This one. Couple little button switches, LED. Not much on that board. Silver recovery, potentially. Another hunk of ferrite. Would have rather kept those wires tied together, but oh well. Ferrite for the scrap. A steel spring here. Another hunk of ferrite. A silver braided wire might be steel. Or it may be tinned copper. I've got a feeling that's steel. Let's see. Does it react to the magnet at all? It does not react to the magnet. So it is either stainless steel or it is copper that's tinned. I'm going to set it aside and we'll try melting it and see what happens. Now I will say that during my last melt, there was a small amount of steel on some of those copper bearing parts that disappeared. I couldn't find it afterwards. So that may be what the impurity was in that copper that made it look funny. I don't know. I don't know if that's possible. Other degaussing cable, which again is copper. Always happy to find copper. More ferrite. Use your trash. That's more of that. Okay. Wonder who makes all these ferrite rings. So now we got down to the plain power board here, which has that piece doesn't appear to be steel either. Now this one, this steel ring, the screw at least is saying copper or steel. The this one is not magnetic at all, so wonder why they use different ones on it. Seems like it would be a waste of money to have to stock two of them. So what do we have here? We've got one decent sized copper bearing transformer, one smaller transformer, another small transformer, one set of copper coils over here, another smaller coil. Those are the primary copper sources I see. Now we do have a bunch of a couple IC chips, some some MOSFETs. Extruded aluminum, this surround is likely all aluminum, also being used as a heat sink. But I've not talked about my tools yet. I will shortly. Because I do believe my tools bear mention in all this work that I do. Definitely aluminum the way it bends. Of course, it is soldered to the board in several places here. pin snips. Solder does not matter, you just cut away from it. And of course they've got these just far enough that I can't quite reach them with the snippers without, we'll just go ahead and go for it. One nice thing about snippers is they cut everything. So they will cut brown board easily enough, or aluminum. So we do have these MOSFETs here. That looks like a relay. Yep. Which will have some more now we haven't crushing everything but what I wanted to get off there. More copper, and it will have a little bit of silver as well in the contacts there. Capacitor, there's another MOSFET. That one, I'm not sure. Let's take a look at it. I am not sure what that is. It's just got a disc of some material in between two contacts there. So I'll have to look that up and see what it is. We do have some capacitors in here that look like they may be precious metal bearing. I'll have to look at that. There is copper in this. It is hard to get to. You basically have to pulverize everything. There's so much resin in it. But you can see there's a big ferrite piece here that goes all the way through, and there's copper wrapped around here. There may also be some copper over on this end, but there is copper in here. I have pulled one apart and looked at it, and it is in there. So it's just a matter of accessing it. More screws on this side. Screws through it. More here. Okay, so this side of the board, the only other thing that I'll probably take on that at the moment will be the fuse. May have a little bit of silver in there. And like I said, I'll save the rest of this to disassemble later and see what else we can get. This side of the board, it's got one more MOSFET on it, with a little heat sink. I'll come off a little bit of the board. So let's get you. These MOSFETs will have a little copper plate in them. At least the larger ones will, that have this metal backing. You can actually, you might be able to see there that that is actually copper. They're attached to a heat sink. It's almost guaranteed that there'll be some copper in them. One more right here. with its little baby heatsink. That will be aluminum also, most likely. Now it was just glued down. Possibly relay here. Definitely some copper in there. Looks like another relay. Yep. That one came apart as I was pulling it apart. More copper. And you can see the little silver contact there. So let's go ahead and grab him out. IC chips I'll come back for later. Everything else on here looks pretty standard. The one thing I don't see on here that I'm actually surprised that I don't see, one little copper spool here. I get the MOSFETs off because they're easy to spot and take off at the time. The chips can be a little bit more difficult, especially if they're soldered in like these are. But the one thing I don't see that I'm surprised that I don't see, I do not see a crystal oscillator anywhere on either on this board. Usually there's at least one. Possibly because this is a monitor and not a TV. It doesn't need one. I don't know. But I do not see one there. We'll put all that away for now. Let's see. This will most likely be still. MOSFETs. I got MOSFET juice all over me. Ferrite and steel. MOSFET. Okay. So board can go back over there. This stuff. That's not steel. The rest of that is plastic. You do have to be careful. These silver contacts are often on a steel frame, so you do have to remove it from there before you put it away. Otherwise, it can get sacked up with all your other steel bits. This guy, remove foam from it. See what's in here. Is actually soldered on right in the middle of the board. Pulled off the copper sheeting. Thread. So let's see here. Screws. Back to my number 1 bit. If you're having to do this, be careful. Once you cut this steel, this tin, it becomes basically razor sharp. Shred. Okay, what do we have here? We got another MOSFET. We've got a IC chip, a couple IC chips. Of aluminum. So we'll grab this little MOSFET here. So just a couple IC chips, and that's about it on there. So we wound up with a couple boards, low grade boards. We wound up with, actually, a second. Wound up with a little bit of stainless, not enough to do anything with, but a little bit. Got these ends off. Inner one is actually really heavy, but that's real good copper in the de-Gaussian cables. So we got aluminum, copper bearing parts, brass connectors, potentially stainless, or some stainless, some potentially stainless. A little bit of wire, and the 2-way Gaussian cable is being the this is 80%, 90% wire, as opposed to this other stuff that's 60%, 40%. So this is good stuff, high copper content. This stuff not quite as much. So, and then we've got the yoke, which, as I said, has a few little spools of copper here. We got these guys up here. Small board there, nothing of any import on it. Cap the yoke. That one's already ferrite coming off easily. I like it when the ferrite comes off easily like that. I have to do a little work on this one because of the glue. There we go. Nice little bit of copper there. Nice little bit of copper there. Okay, now we're down to just the inner yoke here, which is never fun. Just because it's all wound and glued in here in such a way that it can't be fun. Ha! Got that off. That's honestly the easiest one that's ever come apart for me. So that wasn't bad. So more copper, a little bit of ferrite left to get out of that. I'm not worried about that right now. I'll process all that more later. But as we can see, whole TV breaks down to basically what's on this table and those couple boards. And then you've got the picture tube and the outer case to deal with. Like I said, I'm going to take the picture tube, I will break it and send it through a grinder and turn it back into sand. I am going to try and recycle everything that I possibly can. Even the plastic that I'm pulling off of all this stuff will be recycled. I mean, literally as much as possible will be recycled on this channel. Another one. Got over in my tool stack. Just because I'm trying to keep as much out of landfills. It's not so much about money for me. I've got a decent job, so I'm happy for that. Like I said, this is stuff that I do in my free time as a hobby because I enjoy breaking stuff down. I enjoy doing the melting. I enjoy figuring out how to recycle things, and that's it's just something that's becoming more and more important for us. So the more we can keep out of landfills, the longer the landfills will last. Of course, I made a comment the other day on a channel, Searching for Treasure, I believe it is, or something like that. A guy who goes through landfill material in another country. They're restricted access here in America, so you can't go picking through them like you can overseas. But I got a feeling that a lot of the old landfills are going to become the mines of the future because there's so much copper and silver in the landfills that we just threw away. Especially the silver. Something like 50% of the silver that we've mined is no longer in circulation. It's in the landfills because we threw it away. It just wasn't worth enough, so that's where it went. So when right now silver is almost $30 an ounce again. Maybe when it hits 50, maybe when it hits 100, maybe when it hits 400, 500, if it ever hits 400 or 500. I'm not going to say that it will. It's not it would not be unheard of, but the value of the material is in what we can do with it. Silver is widely used in electronics, widely used in industrial uses, so it has a value beyond just the silver itself, and jewelry. Gold, again, yes, we use gold plating in a lot of our electronics, so it has industrial purposes beyond the monetary and the jewelry aspects of it. So, but this is just me breaking down some stuff for fun, just to see what's in them, and put the stuff, get the copper out, silver out, and what I can out, so that we can keep using it in the future and not let it go into the landfill. So have a good one, guys.